Hi there, my name is Dwayne Ortega, and this is a brief overview of transactional funding for anyone who is new or is interested in finding out more about the business. I represent BestTransactionFunding.com, and we provide transactional funding for back-to-back closings, whether it's residential or commercial nationwide. We've been in business since 2009. So just wanted to give you a brief introductions about us, and then let's get down to business. So this is, so what is transactional funding? Let us see here. Transactional funding is simply funding for one day on back-to-back closings. Okay, and these back-to-back closings are executed in order for a real estate investor to earn their fee for their time and effort. Basically, back-to-back closings are similar to wholesaling, where you want to buy a property and sell it for a higher price. So buy low, sell high. So I guess the best way to describe a back-to-back closing is to go through a typical back-to-back closing example. So let's go back in time. Let's say this was 2006. Mr. A got a mortgage for $500,000 ARM, adjustable rate mortgage. Okay, and then back then they used to finance 80-20 loans, where 80% would be from the first mortgage and 20% would be the second mortgage, and they were both, let's say for this example, adjustable. So over time, what happens to the adjustable mortgage? It increases, right? So let's fast forward back to 2011. After 5 years, what happens to the interest rates? It skyrockets. And what happened to the real estate market at the same time? It tumbled. So let's say in 2011, that same $500,000 house is now worth $400,000. Okay, so then what happens typically to Mr. A during that time? Typically, the folks who are in trouble typically lose their jobs, and they can't sell because they want to try to sell to liquidate, of course, to get some more money, but they cannot sell. So what happens to them? They are stuck. They're stuck with their house. They're behind on payments. They're facing foreclosure, and they need help. So what does a typical real estate investor do in this situation, or a typical real estate short sale or a wholesaler do? What they do is they solicit for these folks via mail or whatever have you, and then they get them to contact them. So if the B investor does his job correctly, they meet with Mr. A, and Mr. B helps them out by contacting the bank for a short sale. So Mr. B negotiates with the bank, and then a couple of months later, Mr. B is approved for $300,000 short sale. Okay, at the same time, Mr. B tries to find a C buyer, and let's say his name is Mr. C, and Mr. C wants to buy the property for $375,000. Now, just keep in mind that the value of the house is $400,000. So basically, Mr. B is selling it to Mr. C at a discount, and therefore with equity. So everything is set for a back-to-back closing. Mr. B arranges for both sides to close. Okay. So on closing day, they sell. Mr. B closes with A for $300,000. So, or Mr. A closes with B for $300,000. So where do they get that money from? You guessed it, from a transactional funding company. There's the cash from a transactional funding company, okay, such as ourselves. And then on the flip side, on the BC closing, where Mr. B sells to Mr. C for $375,000, that occurs without a hitch, and that occurs on the same day. And then in the middle is Mr. B. He keeps the difference. Okay? And what happens in the end? Everyone wins. Why? Mr. A gets rid of his bad asset, or his headache, and the bank gets rid of their bad asset. The C buyer actually gets instant equity for $25,000, and the B investor gets to keep roughly $75,000 less closing costs. So that's it in a nutshell. That's a typical example of a back-to-back closing and most of our clients. So let's go into the funding process. So the funding process starts off like this. When the B investor is ready, within 2 weeks of the closing, B contacts a transactional funder. Then B submits a required paperwork. Funder wires the money to the dispersing agent the day before or the day of the closing, and B investor signs transactional funding paperwork. AB and BC close on the same day. Dispersing agent disperses all escrowed funds for both transactions. Dispersing agent has to be the same agent for both transactions. And what are the qualifications? Basically none. All these mean nothing. Okay, no LTV, no credit check, no appraisal, no income verification, easy approval, fast setup, proof of funds letter provided, 100% financing, and it's the least expensive way to double close. What's the catch? Now this is for the industry. This is not our rates. I'll get into our rates a little further. Typically, the one-day rate is typically 2 to 5%. Loan application to identify A, B, and C parties is required. Application or commitment fee of $395 to $595. Purchase and sale agreement between A to B. Short sale approval letter from A's lender. Sale agreement between B to C. Mortgage commitment or proof of funds from C's lender. Title company information, licensure commitment. C's funds must be wired versus bank or certified checks. We had some instances where C's funds were not cleared, so therefore the transactional funding for the A to B is delayed. So if you want it immediately, the C's funds must be wired. But we can explain that whenever you call. So ask us if you have any questions. The conclusion is funding is based on the transaction, not the investor or the property. Allows for back-to-back closings to occur without issues due to separate funds. Again, as transactional funders, we fund the A to B transaction, and B to C is funded by C's bank, or their cash, if they're paying with cash. It's simple, it's hassle-free, and REOs, notes, wholesales can also be funded. So going back to our program, BestTransactionFunding.com, our rate is 1.75%. It's easy, simple, and fast. Extremely low rate up to $500,000. It's 1 to 3 days transactional funding. There's a $395 processing fee. We also provide proof of funds and verification of deposit letters. Again, I think the most important point to get here is that transactional funding provides 100% financing. There's $0 out of your pocket. There's also a 10% referral program that we offer. And we give you that 10% forever. If you refer us somebody, let's see, Mr. Joe Smith, and he does transactional funding with us. He applies for transactional funding and closes with us. Each time he does that, we give you 10% of our fee forever until whenever he decides to stop, or whenever you are too happy with your money. It's nationwide funding. Amounts greater than $500,000 are evaluated on a case-by-case basis. Amounts less than $115,000, there's a flat fee of $2,000, and then there's a processing fee. Okay, we also have what's called an extended transaction funding program. This is for transactions that will take longer than 1 to 3 days. So basically, in the traditional transactional funding, the buyers will close immediately or relatively immediately as to when the AB closes. AB closes on day 1, and BC can close up to day 2 or 3. Okay. However, extended transactional funding is for closings that occur for longer than the traditional transactional funding process of up to 3 days. It can go up to actually 40 days. It's the same premise, but a longer interval. It's up to from 2 to 40 days funding interval. There's also a 10% referral program on our fee, and we provide nationwide funding. And for details, there's simply too many to explain. Go to our website, go to the FAQ section, and click on number 6. Okay. And here is the ETF schedule, the extended transactional funding fee schedule, just for your reference. All right. Well, that's basically it. Contact us via our website or email. Here is our for free reports and current webinars or specials and promotional items. Here is our contact information. Our website again is BestTransactionFunding.com. Our email is info@BestTransactionFunding.com. Our YouTube channel is youtube.com/BestTransactionFunds. And there you can see our Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn links as well. And that's it. Thank you very much for being with me here for a few minutes. And wish you can transact with us soon. Hopefully we can do some business, or if you have any questions, please give us a call or email us, and we'll be happy to help you. Thank you. Have a great day.